Hi, it's Cheryl, Senior Living Family Advocate. Today I wanted to give you some practical advice. For those of you who've already made the decision that you are either soon or eventually going to move your loved one to assisted living or memory care, there are some specific requirements that you need to know about because you can't just pull in and be ready to move them in without having these things in place. The biggest one, number one, which is huge, is to make sure that you have power of attorney handled, durable power of attorney. Meaning that you can take over financial and medical decisions. And why do you need that? Well, first of all, we have laws that state that you can't just force someone to move to a community against their will. So it really comes into play. I mean, if you have a parent who is going to assisted living and they don't have any dementia and they are agreeable to move, then, technically you don't need power of attorney. They're still able to sign all the documents on their own. But it's still a good idea because if anything changes, somebody in the family is going to need to be able to handle those financial and medical decisions. So let's say you have a family member, loved one who needs memory care. Very specific, you cannot move anyone into memory care without somebody having durable power of attorney. And not only do you have to have the durable power of attorney, you have to have two doctors sign off stating that that person is no longer competent to make their own decisions, which then enacts the durable power of attorney and gives you the right to move your loved one into memory care. The same, if you had someone who was moving to an assisted living, let's say, and they didn't have any type of dementia, and even if you have durable power of attorney, because they are still of sound mind, you're still not going to be able to force them to move to assisted living. But you will need two doctors to sign off to state they're no longer competent. You will need power of attorney paperwork. Now, I did have a situation in the last 6 months, really, with a lady whose husband was in assisted living. He did have dementia. They were no longer able to care for him in assisted living. She planned to move him to a memory care community. We had everything in place, but she didn't have power of attorney. And he was already to the point where no attorney is going to do that paperwork because he was no longer of sound mind. So what happens at that point? Then you're stuck. She had to take him home and she had to start the process to become his guardian, which is a whole lot longer process to go through. So best piece of advice is to go to an elder law attorney and get your durable power of attorney with medical and financial handled. I believe that you can still go online and get that paperwork done as well and then notarized. Somebody may say, no, you can't do that. But I believe that is still something that you can do. So that's number one, biggest tip. Number two is your person has to have in the state of Michigan, they have to have a TB test. So they also have to have seen a doctor in the last 12 months because an assisted living memory care is going to require their medical records. And many doctors won't just sign off on that if they have not seen you recently. So we've had a lot of people over the years when I was working at the community that their move-in process got bumped back a little bit because they had to go make doctor's appointments and they had to get, the TB tests and the certain things that you need to move into a community. And so sometimes that can trip you up a little bit, and it can take a little bit longer to move into a community. When you go, they're going to give you a packet of information at the community that you need to fill out. You're going to need their Medicare card, some sort of ID. They take pictures of that. The application needs to be filled out, and most communities, unless you're dealing with the Medicaid waiver, and that is actually going to be for another video. But most communities that are private pay are going to have you fill out a financial form. Most of them want you to be able to prove that not prove, but they're going to ask you to put down your assets so that they know that you can afford to have your loved one there for at least 2 years. 2 to 3 years is usually what they would prefer, that they have assets. And other than that, there's just a lot of forms to fill out. But the big ones are that power of attorney and seeing a doctor and making sure that you have the TB test. Those things are required. So I hope these practical tips helped you today. And I will see you soon. If you need any resources, please give me a call, a text, an email. I'm here to help.